Peace. What's good, beautiful people? We be here in the place to be.
Oh, shoot. Thank you.
Caught y'all off guard. I saw it
Oh,
coming.
man. I didn't even hear the music or nothing.
I didn't even, but
Okay.
we here now.
Hey, y'all. Hey, we in the house.
Good night, good people. Top of the morning to you.
All right. If you are tuned in, you have just tuned in to Where is the Love? I am one of the hosts, Stephanie Hawken Hall.
And I am Adisa Karanja Malik, also known as Gene Williams, or should I say formerly known as Gene Williams. Good to be here in the place to be.
Right. So, if you're watching us either on our YouTube channel, Roku TV, uh, or Amazon Fire. On Roku and Amazon Fire, you can search PODTV space LIVE and watch us live while we're doing this show right now, or whenever they do a replay. So, our YouTube channels are Love Misunderstood Institute and
Premier Fitness 0210.
yep. So my nose rings ain't acting right.
You gotta get them right. Gotta get them right. Gotta do it like this sometimes. Yeah. Okay, it's in there.
You so doggone silly. So y'all, we have been talking about inner child work. And on episode 118, where this is well, on episode 118 last week, we talked about how inner child work enables healing. We gave you some tips and tools to guide in the healing process to release emotional baggage.
Yep.
Today, this is episode 119, and we're starting out talking about breaking negative patterns. You want to add anything before we start?
No, this is a juicy one. I'm ready to dig in.
Okay, you want to start or you want me to start?
Yeah. I start. Trying to get my water together first. Okay, this is my cup right here. Okay. All right. Number one is breaking negative habits. By understanding the root causes of negative patterns in relationships or behaviors, individuals can consciously choose healthier alternatives and break free from these cycles. So inner child work can be a powerful tool for breaking negative patterns in relationships and behaviors by addressing unresolved childhood wounds. And that's the first step to healing, acknowledging that you have a problem. And
Yeah.
the second one is to address it. So yeah, we're on the stage two now. Uh, by reconnecting with and healing the inner child, individuals can gain a better understanding of the origins of these patterns to develop healthier coping mechanisms and relationship dynamics.
Okay, so y'all check this out. I didn't know until maybe about a month ago, that anything about inner childhood work. Gene, I learned a lot of stuff from Gene. And so one of the things so he is the one that brought that up to me. So, and I like to look and see, whatever somebody is talking about. My grandkids used to get on me when they were in junior high school. They would ask me what something meant, or they would ask me what something meant. And I would, if I didn't know, I didn't say I didn't know, I would get my phone and Google it. And they say, Granny,
Right.
are you going to Google that? And I
Yeah,
say, yeah. And they say, you Google everything. That's how I learn. If I don't know something, I'm gonna
right.
go to Google. Not saying
Yes,
that Google
right.
has all the absolute answers, but Google have enough answers for me to be had enough answers for me to be able to respond to them and to make it clear whatever it was meant. So
Right.
Google is my friend.
You know, I always Google that is.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you don't Google that is? Yes, right. It puts in the
so
pathway.
yep. So, inner child work is important in healing. So, we've already been talking about that. So, we're just going to give you some more information about it. And not only is it important work, but and to aid in your healing, but we have been doing this. While we're teaching it, I think Gene started before we started teaching about it, but this is very important work. So, how inner child work helps break negative patterns. Identifying root causes, that is so huge.
Oh
Inner
yeah.
child work helps individuals understand how past experiences, particularly childhood trauma or negative influence, or wait a minute, particularly childhood trauma or neglect, influence their current behaviors and relationship patterns. I had no idea. I'm always asking the question, Mark, our background.
We went to the beach on y'all. We got our toes in the sand and everything. Listen, man.
So, oh shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say because I'm being silly. Um, I had no idea. Oh, so I was getting ready to say I'm always asking the question when something is happening and it's like, okay, it caught me all off guard, or I'm like, what the heck is really going on here? Then I'll just ask the question out loud, like I'm talking. I just say, what the heck is going on? What does this mean? What
Right.
do I need to learn from this? And so I've been doing that for many years. So now I understand something deeper, and that something deeper is, especially if it's hurtful, it caused a trigger to some trauma from my past. I'll say, what is the root of this? What is causing
Mhm.
this? What happened to cause me to respond in this way every time I experience something like this? And
Right.
I've learned a lot about myself. A lot of my past has came back to my memory, um, because I asked that question, or I asked those questions, because I don't want to just remember that thing and hurt and say, "Oh well, that was a long time ago," or whatever. I want to actually deal with it. I want to dig deep so that I can heal going to the future, more whole, if that makes sense.
Right.
Um, so I deal with those things. You want to say something?
For sure. So actually, right before, literally before we hopped on, I was watching this video from a page that I look at from time to time called Dark Whispers, and it's talking about the red. It's called a red file program or something like that. Anyway, it was a technique used, if I remember correctly, in like the 1970s, briefly by psychologists, and it broke down the mask in the walls that we put up. But one of the main things that was repeated often was the fact that our the root causes of our a lot of the root causes of our behaviors and our personality were built off of trauma that we sustained, growing up as children, and then we created programming that we live out throughout our adulthood and throughout the rest of our lives. So getting to that root cause, you can break down the programming that has put you in, has you acting or, being a certain person that you may or may not be. You know what I mean? A lot of times, like for instance, if you deal with a situation of your trust was um, someone, did something, what's the word I'm looking for? Someone was untrustworthy, is how I say it. Someone was untrustworthy. So at that point, you begin to program yourself to think, I can't trust anyone, and then you begin to create a personality and programming around that mindset. And so that becomes your program. And then there are so many different ways that shows up in our lives.
Yeah.
So it's extremely important in order to heal and to get back to your true self, to find that root cause, to find that original seed that created, the behavior patterns and the characteristics and the person that you've become. You got to dive deep, man. This is a deep dive.
Yeah. So I want to say something, and don't say the name, but the cousin that I was telling you about earlier that I talked to
Yeah,
today
yeah,
is a teacher, y'all. He's a teacher, and he's been a teacher for over 40 years.
yeah.
And he was asking me about kids acting the way they do. And he said it, and then he said, what is wrong? Why are kids the way they are today? What's the problem? They just totally different. And so I
Right.
was telling him, parents, adults, more power to the teachers, are serious, noble profession. It is.
Yes.
So I was telling him that
Absolutely.
as adults,
That's all.
we, huh? What'd you say?
I said hats off to the teachers.
Yeah,
Hats off to the teachers.
yeah. So I was telling him, I said, well, as adults, we're carrying this, around all of this pain from our childhood. And, so we're carrying around this bag of stuff. So we're not healed. So we can't, hurt people. So we can't, um, they don't know how did I say it?
Process.
Yeah, they don't know how to process their own emotions to be able to help the kids. Um, and so that's a huge thing. And he was saying, well, I'm still, the same. I still do the same with my students, and they respect me. So he's a teacher. He was always, y'all don't know this, but he was always a teacher he was always teaching history, and usually teaching history. And he was always the teacher over the behavioral room. And so they would send them to him because they knew he could get them straight.
Oh yeah. He don't play.
No, at all. And he still and he said, well, I still do what I do. And he told me, he said, if you could, why don't you just bring Nana and Mama? He talking about, you know,
I already know.
bring Nana and Mama and Aunt
Right.
and Grandma back so they can straighten this crap out.
Woo! Lord. They would be straight if they had them phones.
Right. He
Nothing
said,
to play with.
yeah, because he said it they things were much better back then, and now people don't even really know how to deal with kids. And then so I started saying, well, they don't even sit at the table for dinner. They together much anymore. They don't have conversations, too much. And he was saying, well, the phones have taken over. And I said, right. So the parents are working all day and come home and are cooking and preparing, to relax for the evening. And so as long as the kids are on the phone, they're like, good, they're away from me and I'm doing what I'm doing, trying to, get things together for the evening. But I said, but that's not the right answer, because what are they looking at on their phones? Who are they talking to? And I said,
Right.
and so one of the things that I talked about is, us growing up and how our parents didn't, allow us to call each other names and stuff like that. But we argued and we said insulting and humiliating things to each other because we were kids, you know,
Right.
that was okay for us, but it wasn't okay to our parents. And so that's why he said, bring them back. Um, so
Right.
anyway, the thing is, I was telling him, these kids are on these phones. So what are they seeing? Who are they talking to? Because words, negative and mean words, are spoken on social media all the time, and the
Oh
kids
yeah.
don't know how to deal with it. So what I didn't say is,
Okay.
kids are dealing with stuff like that. They're being called snitch and scared that they're going to go back to school. If I say something to my parent, they're going to go say something, and then this kid is going to be more mean to me. And so with those couple things, they're not willing to communicate to get help because they're scared, you know,
Right.
of what might happen afterwards.
Yeah.
So anyway, you want to add something, and then I'm gonna read Mark's comments.
Yeah, for sure. So the funny thing for me is that, like, if you really pay attention, every generation says these children ain't like they used, ain't like they used to be.
Yeah.
It's very different and very much the same in a lot of ways. Um, so you got children dealing with chaos and whatnot at home, and then going to schools, and they all dealing with it. And with the older generation, it's like you've had these wounds since you were a kid, so you got scar tissue. You know what I mean? You're not healed, like you said. You're not healed, but you got scar tissue. Now you kind of set in your ways. But these kids, they still have a fresh wound. You know,
Yeah.
they just got cut open. And you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And every time they get, poked on it, it opens up more. Pus comes out of it or whatever. So it's really like we have to. I think it's something you and I talked about maybe on the phone. I think when you were talking about the connection with the pastors and the city people, that we're all hurting.
Yep.
Adults and children alike, and we have to come to the realization that we are all hurting. We're
Yeah.
all seeking a path of healing, and we need
Yeah.
to be empathetic and still set firm boundaries. You gotta have that balance. Be
Yeah.
empathetic, but also, hey, this is the line right here, partner.
Yeah.
If you can't get your together, then you're gonna have to go that way to the left.
Right.
You know, but if you can, I mean, and being aware, like we all have had those times when we are heavily caught up in our emotions and things that we have experienced, and it's just in that moment be empathetic and allow them space to talk. But again, when they start going crazy, hey, now listen, there's consequences to every action. Now, do
Yeah.
know that. Now you can express how you feel to be respectful.
Yeah.
You can be angry, but don't hit people. Don't toss things, or get you a punching bag like I have in the corner of the house. It's
Yeah.
a punching bag. Find you a pillow, something, whatever. Find a
Yeah.
constructive way to get that stuff out. But
Yeah.
I just feel like we are all dealing with a lot of the same stuff, and the more that we are able to be sympathetic and balance it with boundaries, the better we can do with healing ourselves and setting the example for others. Because that's really all we can do, be
Yeah.
the example.
And you just read it, acknowledging whatever the pain is in the first
Right,
place is
right,
to start the healing process is very important. So Mark said parents are letting the kids get away with a lot. Um, and that has a lot to do with how we're told that how we can the limitations on how we can punish our kids. So it has a lot to do with that, um, and why things are so different, or it
right,
has something to do with that. And then he also said a friend's daughter is like young 20s, and she says the adults are the ones who give her a hard time. They feel privileged. Um, and in a class yesterday, they were talking about, we were in a mental health class, resilient program, that the one that we're doing in the schools. And so what came up is that kids, that when kids are doing things, when they're acting out, instead of us responding to punish them, we have to remember, or we should remember, um, that they have things going on too. So like
right,
the kids in the classroom, we don't know what's going on outside of the group counseling. So what they're going through at home, we don't know. So instead of getting upset when they act out, we were told to think about, uh, and that's our power struggle. So we can stay there and and go through our power struggle trying to make them conform or
right,
make them do something that we want them to do, but that's not going to help. So it just still goes back to that pain. What is that
right,
pain for them? What are they experiencing? Go ahead and
right.
say something, and then I'll read the rest of Mark's comments.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, like trying to force them to do something
Yeah,
when they're at home being forced to do something else that they don't want to do is like you're kind of reinforcing the resistance, which is
yeah,
why with my child, I'm not gonna force it. You know what I mean? I would love to. I
yeah,
legally have the right to do it,
yeah,
but but it's not gonna be conducive to anything positive. You know. So we have to find that balance, you know what I mean? Like there's a structure that you
yeah,
hold, but you also, hey, you want to talk about, I can tell something's going on. You need to talk about
yeah,
it. If they don't want to talk about it, okay, check it. Well, I understand that you're going to do something, but you can't do this here in this space. Maybe
right,
you need to take a break for a second to meditate, calm yourself down, you take a walk, go get some water, something. But
yeah,
when you come back, I need you to be calm, you know?
right, yeah,
So And that's a balanced approach. You're not forcing them right in that moment to ignore what they're feeling. You're acknowledging. I can tell you're feeling something. What's going on? If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. If not, I need you to go take a break. Come back. You at 10. I need you to bring it down to 2. And you can come back in the room. We can finish this lesson. But can't have this chaos because chaos begets chaos. Chaos.
Yeah.
So the more that you allow chaos in that space, and it's okay, so I can act a fool too. Oh, you can act a fool too. Oh wait, then everybody's wild. Everybody's bouncing off the walls. You know what I mean, like a pinball.
Right.
No, ain't good state. So
Yeah. Mark said that 20-year-old, where'd he go? He said that she's a teacher too. The
mm,
20-year-old that he was just talking that I mentioned. And then
mm,
he said, too busy staring at the phone. So that was the phone part of the conversation. What if I want to go to the right?
you don't have to act right.
So Mark, you can't go. You got to go to the left, not to the right.
Right. You got it right. You ain't gonna act right. You gotta go to the left. You can act right. You can go to the right. You see what I'm saying?
So he
See
said
how that works out? That's balance. Okay.
every action has a consequence. And then he said, not all Karens are
Right.
white. Mark, you a
What you
mess.
said. And not all of them are women either.
Right. So did we do identifying root causes?
Healing. Yes.
Okay. So healing emotional wounds. By addressing and healing these wounds, individuals can release the emotional baggage that contributes to negative patterns. Developing self compassion. Inner child work fosters self compassion and self acceptance, which can help break patterns of self criticism, excuse me, and low self esteem. You want to add anything or keep going?
Yeah. So that part right there is major. We have to see ourselves love, and usually with these patterns or these programs that we have set forth in our lives, it comes with a lot of negative uh, self criticism. Because to criticize yourself just means to critique. I did this. I want to, I want to be better at this. So on and so forth. But when it's negative, it's like I'm not good at nothing. That's why everything goes bad because I'm not, worthy or whatever is the tape in your head. You
Yeah.
know. But developing self compassion is allowing yourself the space to be like, you know what, I messed up, but I can do better and come back to it. Take it as one of my favorite cliches is um, don't take L's as losses, take them as lessons.
Yeah.
So this is just an opportunity to learn,
Yeah.
and that's how we should approach life, at least from my perspective, my judgment.
Yeah. Yeah. You can go to the next part unless you want to add something else.
I guess. All right.
Improve.
So next is improving relationships. By healing inner child wounds, individuals can develop healthier relationship patterns, including better communication, boundaries, my favorite words, and emotional regulation. That's so important. Especially the emotional regulation part. Because things are going to trigger you, but how do you react? You know, do you respond or do you react? The react is like someone smacks you, smack them back. You know what I mean? Which I mean in certain situations, and maybe necessary.
Yeah.
But no, in most times, like you're going through a situation, and do you flip out and have a big temper tantrum and whatnot, or do you step back, take a deep breath, and process and analyze it from an observer standpoint as opposed to a person who's an actor in the situation.
Yeah.
All right.
Breaking. Go ahead.
Yeah. So next is breaking repetitive cycles. Inner child work can help individuals break free from repeating unhealthy cycles of behavior and relationships that stem from childhood experiences.
So you gotta want to break the repetitive cycle. If you don't
Right.
choose to break the repetitive cycle, you will continue to repeat it over and over
Oh,
and over again. So you got to acknowledge that it's a thing, you know, um, and then move forward. So when you
And
move
do
forward,
something
you
different. Do
huh?
something. I said, and do something different. The new single coming soon. Stay tuned. Shameless plug.
So go ahead with the next one.
All right, so next is boosting self-esteem. Addressing past hurt can lead to increased self-worth and confidence. Confidence, making it easier to set healthy boundaries and advocate for oneself. So when you feel confident in yourself, it's easier to be like, "Hey, listen, man, I love you, but it's now." But when you don't have that self-love and self-esteem, it's easy to let people run over you, and if
Yep.
you're like, well, at least they're here in my life. Yeah, but they causing hell, and they need to go to the left. But okay.
You're so doggone silly.
Just a little bit.
Okay, go ahead. Is it
All
emotional
right.
regulation?
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So next is emotional regulation. Inner child work can help individuals develop better emotional regulation skills, reducing reactivity and impulsivity in relationships and other situations. So I want to say it again. Like when you're in a situation where you get triggered by something that may or may not be occurring, the tendency is to flip out. Or some people go the opposite direction. Some people flip out and rage out, and other people is like they just go, and it's
Yeah.
like they're there, but they're
Shut down.
not there. Right, exactly. That whole shutdown thing. Yeah. Um, but doing the inner child work allows you to again approach it from the standpoint of self-analysis. You know, analyzing why I feel what I feel and what that feeling came from, and then you get to really look at the situation that you're going through. And it's like, is that the same as that past thing? That root cause, is it the same thing or does it feel like the same thing? And feelings are important, but we also need to step back from feelings sometimes and analyze it from a, I hate to use this word sometimes with people, emotional regulation and logic don't always seem like they go together, but really they do. When you're able to step back from the emotional aspect with the energy moving and step back into, you know, observing, and that's where logic comes from. Logic comes from, you know, paying attention to the situation from an observer standpoint, as opposed to being active in it. So, and that's the beauty of emotional regulation. You can step back and not be so thrown up in the storm of emotions that you can't think right or think clearly, which
Yeah.
causes your actions to be chaotic.
Yep. And which ain't gonna help nothing. Cause I can't remember his name, but he said you can't solve. Shoot, it ain't coming to me.
Solve
Solve
problems on the same wavelength or
level
vibration.
created on
That
same
right,
level
exactly.
created on.
Right.
So you know some he's a famous man, but I can't think of his name. Um, but so you gotta come on a different level.
Right.
So then creating a sense of safety and trust by nurturing their inner child, individuals can cultivate a sense of safety and trust within themselves, which can translate into healthier relationships with others.
Yep.
Want to add anything? Increase self compassion. Healing the inner child fosters self compassion and acceptance, allowing individuals to treat themselves with the same kindness and understanding they would offer to a child. Now, that's
Mm-hmm.
what real love does.
Mm-hmm.
Real
Yep.
love, I treat me good, and so in turn, I treat you good. So,
Right. Yeah.
love,
Again, the self compassion for it is
sorry, learn to love others the way the way you love yourself. So go ahead and say sorry.
or love others the way you want to be loved. Because often we don't treat ourselves with that greater love, but we have a desire or a vision of what love would be like best for us. So
Yep.
treat your inner child like you would treat yourself with that love or that vision of love. Hmm. That's a thought of another song I wrote back in the day.
Oh Lord. Him and his
They
music.
always in there. They always in there.
Okay, so you want to do inner child work and self compassion?
Yeah, I guess. All right, so next, inner child work and self-compassion. So inner child work is a therapeutic approach focusing on recognizing and healing the emotional wounds and unmet needs from childhood that can affect our behavior, thoughts, and relationships with adults. By addressing these past experiences, inner child work creates a path toward increasing self-compassion. And here's how. So number one is nurturing a wounded inner child. We all have a wounded inner child, and I would judge that to be factual. We all have those things that, for whatever reason, we didn't get, or we felt like we didn't get, or whatever be the case.
Yep.
So inner child work allows you to acknowledge and tend to the pain, neglect, or harm your inner child may have experienced. Number
And you
two,
know what? Sorry to interrupt. But when we do that, that keeps us from keep pointing the finger at other people. Well, you didn't
right,
do this, so that's why I'm like this.
right,
So we can keep pointing the finger at what somebody else didn't do and stay stuck because that's what we're going to do. We're going to stay stuck. Or we can say, okay, this happened. I don't know why, but that's not my focus. My focus is getting out of this pain and releasing this pain and letting it go and moving forward. So when
yep,
we look at things from that perspective, then we can, start our healing process. But just to add, I know many people, and you know some too. Um, but I know many people that are holding so tightly onto that hurt and that pain and not releasing it. Well, nothing else can get in. Nothing can get
right,
in and nothing can get out. That hurt just stays. But when you open your hand and release it, you are releasing that thing, and now your hand is open to receive whatever that good thing is. So that hurt and that pain of whatever you have experienced um, can't go away unless you choose to release it. And you got a choice. I can hold on to it and be mad, angry, bitter, upset, full of hatred,
right,
all of that stuff, or you can let it go. But you got to choose every time. And so as you
right,
continue to choose every time, then one day you're going to think about that same thing and it's not going to have the same power that it had because you released it. And you say, I
right,
remember when I used to think about that and I get so mad and now I don't get mad,
right,
or I might feel a little hurt, but it's not like it
right,
was
right.
before I chose to release it and say, I don't want this no more. So go ahead and
Yeah.
add whatever you want to add.
Yeah, so actually there was kind of multiple things that made me think about. A lot of us, to your last point, a lot of us hold on so tightly to the trauma that, like, when something triggers us, it's like it's happening all over again, like just in that moment. That's
Because
why
it
people,
has power, still has that
right,
power. Yep.
right, because we haven't addressed it.
Right.
Um, and so to add to your point, like, it's a constant process. You know, you may be triggered by that same thing over and over and over again. Do you want to be at the same height of anger every time? So you acknowledge in that moment each time that this stems from X, Y, Z. And although this feels like that, this is not that. And that kind of takes some of the sting off of it. And the more you're able to do that, the less likely you are to react
Yep.
and be responsive. Um, And then going back to your earlier statement about, like, people get caught up in pointing the finger, like, self compassion allows you to not only have compassion for yourself, but have compassion for others. Because again, remember, we all have childhood trauma, you know. So although that's something that person did or said or whatever uh, may have hurt, we have to first remember they got trauma too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now it does not
Excuse.
expunge them. Yeah, it doesn't excuse or expunge them from their actions because every action and every word has a consequence. However, if you can operate from a place of compassion for yourself and for the other person, then you say, okay, all right, now we need to talk this out, and going back to the point. Now, you gonna act right, and we can go right together, or you can act the fool, and you can go left, and I see your
You can get to getting.
you get down, you get down.
Uh, Go ahead to the next part.
Uh, it's a way so self compassion. I'm sorry, nurturing your inner child. It's a way to offer love, validation, and care that might have been missing during your formative years. So it's like going back again and nurturing that child as the adult. So we spoke of it last show called reparenting yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh well, I'm sorry, I'm a little premature on that one. That's the next point. The process, the process of reparenting your inner child fosters a sense of safety and allows you to build a more loving relationship with yourself. And the first and most important relationship we all have is with ourselves.
Yeah. So the thing about that I love about this, what you just read, is that we have an opportunity to change the trajectory
Yep,
ourselves just by
yep,
making a choice. I didn't like that. I didn't want that. That hurt. I don't want to feel that hurt, that pain anymore. So I can change the trajectory of this thing by asking, what did I need then?
hmm
And give that to me now.
yep,
I love that. So
yep.
I just had to say that because I just got that revelation.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, hey, hey, hey. But that's major though, and that's like going back in time, and
yep,
you heal the person from that childhood to the adult that's reparenting that inner child, and you
yep,
heal that entire timeline.
yep. All by making a choice.
Yep,
Do
yep,
I want this? No, I don't want that. Well, maybe I don't know how to heal myself, but I know that I felt like I needed love then because I felt
mhm,
rejected. And since I felt rejected, I can give myself that love. What was it that I needed that I can give myself right now and replace what did
right.
happen with what I want? Rewriting
Yeah,
the story, another revelation. Ding, ding,
yep,
ding.
exactly. Ding, ding, ding. Right on the nose. He hit
Oh,
the jackpot, guys.
okay, go ahead. I love it when I get these revelations.
Oh yeah. All right. So next is challenging negative beliefs and self criticism. So first inner child work helps to identify and challenge negative beliefs about yourself formed in childhood, such as feeling unworthy or inadequate. And next, it encourages replacing negative self-talk with more supportive and empowering messages, thereby cultivating self-compassion and a healthier self-image. Something that you did on the initial, what do you call it, the first video, the introduction video. You said speaking words of affirmation over yourself. Go ahead and can you remember is that how you said it?
No, but I'm learning more and more about affirmations and the importance of it. So what I've been saying and what I've been doing have not been the same. And this is what I mean because I understand the power of affirmations now. Um, it means so much because you're changing that negative thing to a positive thing just by saying it over and over and over again. I hear that negative, that's not what I want to repeat.
Right.
Um, I can't uh, I can't do math well, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So the affirmation would be I can do math well and I can, you know,
Learn.
huh?
I can learn.
Right. I
Yep.
can learn math and I can do well. So if you keep saying that, then it will overpower that
Yep.
I can't do,
Yep.
for example. But just hearing affirmations now, I was writing something in the last day or two anyway, that like I said, it just has power over, over whatever that negative thing is, and it has a whole lot of power if you keep saying it. And even in our intro video, I thought about this because I said it in the intro video. I don't know if it's still this one or if it's the old one that we were doing, but what I said is when you say, and I didn't use a word,
The affirmations over yourself.
huh?
I think you did say affirmations.
Okay, so but I didn't understand the power back then that I
Right.
understand now. Because I was saying if you say positive stuff over and over again, then you start to believe it. That was part
Right.
of that intro. So I don't know if it's still on there or if that part was cut out, but now I understand the power of the
Mm-hmm.
affirmations. I mean, it
Right.
really changes it really shifts the dynamic of whatever, that negative thing is if you just keep saying it over and over again. So
Yeah.
that ain't all that I wanted to say about it, but I can't remember. So I'm rambling, so I'm gonna be quiet.
I knew he was going with it. I knew. All
um,
right.
Go ahead.
All right. So number three is healing childhood trauma and emotional pain. So inner child work allows for the processing of unresolved trauma and addressing unmet emotional needs from childhood. So kind of going back to what we were saying before. Um, Healing these wounds fosters emotional resilience, allowing you to cope with challenges with greater emotional balance and less reliance on unhealthy coping mechanisms developed in childhood, like kind of like we talked about earlier in the show.
Yeah. Developing Number four, developing healthier relationships. By addressing attachment wounds and relational trauma from childhood, inner child healing helps individuals develop more secure and trusting relationships with others. It improves communication, helps in setting healthy boundaries, and fosters empathy and understanding in interactions. You want to do that part or you want me to do it? Reconnecting with joy and creativity.
Usually,
Engaging in activities you loved as a child can help nurture your inner child and reconnect with a sense of joy and playfulness. This can lead to a more vibrant and authentic self, unburdened by past hurts and anxieties.
yeah. Uh, so we were talking about. I think we talked about this a couple of shows ago about like going back to that childhood. And you sent me a message about me jumping off stuff and everything like that. Like now, there's a video that my fiance wants me to do. It's Will Smith and a few other people talking about black men talking about frolicking. You know, and just in essence, allow yourself to run around and be silly. You know,
Run around and be silly.
okay, so an open field. Silly, yeah, just like we frolicking. Smelling flowers or chasing. One of them was chasing sheep or something like that.
Oh,
But just allow yourself to be free and childlike. Kids explore stuff.
right.
They don't think about until they're told to that someone may think they're weird or there's something wrong with me smelling flowers or chasing butterflies or whatever. Um, there was another someone said it. I don't know where it was. A video one of us were watching, and it was like if you didn't capture fireflies in mason jars, you didn't have a childhood.
Oh boy.
Right. Right. I mean, obviously it's a joke, but like that's the thing. Like we hold on. Yeah, we lose just the desire to explore and try different stuff as kids. I mean, as adults because we think we got to be so serious,
Yeah,
and yeah, so that's a tragedy.
yeah. So practicing self-compassion. Ultimately, inner child work is an act of self-compassion. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a child who is suffering. Developing self compassion is a gradual process that requires patience and a commitment to nurturing your inner child over time. In essence, inner child work helps you become a more compassionate adult to yourself by addressing the needs of your wounded inner child. This process fosters a deeper sense of self love, self acceptance, and ultimately greater emotional well being and resilience. You
I'm
want
sorry, I had to send a text message real quick.
to? Okay. So, improved emotional regulation. Through inner child work, individuals can develop a greater understanding of their emotions and learn to manage them effectively, reducing reactivity and emotional overwhelm. How inner child work can improve emotional regulation, and this is important. Inner child work is a therapeutic approach focusing on recognizing and healing the emotional wounds and unmet needs from childhood that can affect our emotional responses as adults. And this, when I was talking about the teacher, the relative of ours that's a teacher, um,
Hmm.
this is the same thing that I was talking about, except for I didn't say, emotional uh, responses. But the way we regulate emotionally is how we teach our kids to uh, regulate emotionally. And we might not think
Yeah.
of it like that, but it's so true. Because, and I was telling him this, that they do what we do, not what we say.
Say that again
And
for the
this is,
people on the back.
say that again.
I said, say that again for the people on the back.
Yeah. So I was telling him that, and I said, so they're watching, the adults at home, because he said something that sparked that and made me say, well, the parents, the kids are watching the parents, and they're, not doing what they say. You saying do this, but if you're not doing it, they ain't gonna do what you say. They
Right,
gonna do what you do. Just because you say don't go hit Johnny, well, if you hit Johnny, then it must be okay to hit Johnny. So I'm gonna go hit Johnny too because you did.
right, right, exactly.
So people don't think like that, but it's very real.
Right. I mean, it also goes into like you're telling them to do something that they don't have the example for. So like, how am I going to do something that I've never seen done?
Right. That's very
You
true.
know?
Yep, very true. Because they are, was it in this that we read, not today, but in this last week, talking about the kids being sponges?
Hmm.
Reading so much lately. But kids are sponges, so what they soak up what we do. Same thing. They're
Right,
watching and oh, it's okay to do that, or oh, they're doing it, so it's okay. Kind of the same thing I just said. So
right.
you want to do the next part or you want to add something?
Um, we're on
Yeah,
improve
can
emotional
improve
the first one.
emotional regulation.
Okay, yeah, yeah. All right. So here's how we're gonna improve emotional regulation. The first one is, and this is a big one. We need to identify our triggers. Inner child work helps connect the dots between present day emotional reactions and their roots in past experiences. By understanding these connections, individuals can recognize the specific triggers that provoke intense emotional responses. For example, a person struggling with feelings of rejection might trace those feelings back to childhood experiences of being ignored or invalidated.
Rejection is a big thing that's hard to get over. But uh, so I'm glad that they gave the tip of it can the feelings can go back to childhood experiences of being ignored or invalidated because I have been that's one of the things that I've been trying to trace. I'll just say it like that. You know, where did
Yeah,
it start? Where did this come from? So, because it's still a giant in my life,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a thing, man. Like being rejected is, can be scarring. And just again, being able to regulate that feeling or need to be validated by outside sources is a huge step in the direction of healing from that. Um, and that's work,
Yeah,
everyday work. Like we all go through it. We all go through
yeah. You want to do the next part?
it. Yeah. All right. So number two is processing repressed emotions. So inner child work provides a safe space to process and release emotions like anger, sadness, and fear that may have been suppressed or ignored during childhood. This release can reduce their power over current emotional responses, leading to calmer and more appropriate reactions.
I don't have a comment.
So number three is reparenting and self-compassion. A core element of inner child work is the concept of reparenting, where individuals learn to provide themselves with the love, care, and validation that they may not have received as children. This can involve positive self-talk, replacing self-criticism with supportive and kind affirmation.
This is where I saw that at.
Okay.
This is where I saw this at. Um, so, um, what I and I said this already though, but when you replace those negative, whatever it is, negative thoughts, negative feelings with a positive affirmation, and you keep doing it, then that power of the negative thing diminishes, and that the power of that affirmation grows.
Hmm.
And so then you start to believe that because it has grown. But you have to choose, do I want this negative thing or do I want positive? So you have to
Right.
keep choosing every time you have a negative experience. And you have to keep saying, even if it's the same affirmation over and over, you're building muscles with
Yep.
that, you know,
Ah,
positive affirmation. And so,
yep.
like I said, I didn't even realize, and as time goes on, I realize more and more how powerful the positive affirmations are and how they can change the whole trajectory of whatever it is, of whatever that experience is. But you might not believe it at first when you first said, I can walk on a tightrope. You
Right.
might not believe it, but if you keep saying it and you keep practicing, you're gonna
Hmm.
get better and you're gonna believe. I believe I can do it. I believe I can fly. I
Yep.
believe I can
Oh,
touch the sky
you better touch it.
every night and day. Oh, okay.
Better section lanes out and fly away now. Don't play with me.
Ah,
But
Mark,
now there's a saying, a Native American saying that goes,
let me say this real quick. Remember what you said. Gonna say. Mark said, "I saw Stephanie at the circus. She's a tightrope walker."
Lord,
Go ahead and say
she
what you.
believes, she believes, she believes, she believes, she believes. Well, but no, so there's this Native American saying that goes, there was a man and his child, son, they change genders often with that story, but there are two wolves. It's a good wolf and a bad wolf. And the child asks, which wolf is more powerful or stronger? And the father said, whichever one you feed the most.
Whichever
So
one
you
you
feed,
what?
whichever one you feed the most.
Oh,
Uh-huh. So yeah,
that's
you feed
powerful too.
right, exactly. So if you feed that negative aspect or that negative thought by your attention and constantly repeating it to yourself and believing it, then you create a gravitational pull towards that belief. But if you go the other way and you constantly feed that healthy thought, then you create a gravitational pull towards that. So again, it's what you choose.
So another revelation. Putting a seed in the dirt, don't water it, it ain't gonna grow.
You know,
If you water it, it's gonna grow. So if you water and keep watering it with positive affirmations, it's gonna grow into something positive. But if you
right,
um and so the seed never gets anything, no roots attaching to it because it's dead, and you killed it by choosing not to water it, and by choosing not to feed it, as you just said, by choosing not to feed it. So it's not going to grow, it's just going to, be there. So you got
right.
to choose what you want in everything. You got to make a choice. So for every negative experience, we only have 4 minutes. So
Mhm.
are we at number? We're not going to do any more, but are we at number three?
Yes. Um, yeah.
Okay.
Setting healthy boundaries.
So we don't have to wait a minute. I'm just trying to figure out where to start next time. So reparenting
Oh,
and self compassion.
right.
Okay. So we'll start there next week. So let's tighten up so we can end the show. So, y'all, we have shared a lot of tips and tools, a lot of information. We're learning as we go. We've learned a lot. We're still learning. And that's where all these revelations and all of these other things are coming, and all these light bulbs are being turned on in our minds as we're teaching, sharing this information, because it's valuable, and we want to see everybody healed and made whole, in their
Right.
minds, and stop living in that negative past that is not doing us any good unless it was something good. So
Right.
keep feeding yourself with positive affirmations. It's so important and so valuable. What you want to add?
Yeah. Definitely keep feeding yourself positive affirmations. Stay vigilant about being aware of when you're triggered and what is the root cause. And then go back to that inner child and start to heal, from there. Um, we all have trauma and we all can be healed. It's all a choice.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, love yourself and return love on other people.
yeah. So, y'all, we thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for joining us. This is huge to us, and it means a lot to us to heal. And we want to see other people, like I said, healed and made whole in their minds, and not developing and experiencing mental health issues like a lot of people do. So that's why this is important to us. So stay true to yourself, love yourself, and until next time, peace. We send you peace, we send you love. Take care, and bye for now. I